Coming to you from Eros Park in Windhoek, this is the Friday installment of Primetime News. Good evening to our global audience and many thanks for making a date with me for the next 20 minutes as we unpack headline grab and events shaping our world. Always my pleasure having you. I'm Michael Madimba. In the lead tonight, United Nations General Assembly President Denis Francis expressed his satisfaction with the announcement by the prosecutor of the International Court of Justice requesting warrants of arrest for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas leaders. Francis expressed the sentiments during a courtesy visit to State House. Let's take a listen.
We are really honored to receive you because we have been seeing you from the distance, of course, but fighting for the rights of all of us, trying to bring sanity to humanity when people are just doing whatever they think is proper for themselves, but not for others, proper for their countries, not for their other countries, and not for the peace in the world. And therefore, it is a real honor to have you in our country. We thank you for taking the decision. We thank you for coming, and we are really happy to have you in Namibia. Once again,
all is not lost. Thankfully, we still live in a world where correctness and propriety and justice and rights matter. So I must tell you that I was elated, really elated as a diplomat from a developing country when the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court recently announced that he had asked the judges of the court for permission to issue warrants of arrest for the Prime Minister of Israel and for senior members of Hamas.
Minister of Information and Communication Technology Emma Theophilus, accompanied by Kunene Region Governor Marius Scheer, on Wednesday launched the Government Information Sharing Session program, which is taking place in Opuwo this week. Speaking at the event, Theophilus stressed that this was a convergence of all kinds of people to not only bring them services, but also learn the issues plaguing the community and how best to resolve them.
This gathering, ladies and gentlemen, is testament to the effective governance we want to have. You can only govern a people if you come to them and you listen to them and engage them, because challenges change from time to time. The challenges of 2021 are not the challenges of 2024. But if the last time we were in Opuwo was 2021, we'll continuously think that we are addressing challenges of 2021, while new challenges of 2024 have propped up. But it's also an opportunity for us to be transparent. We come to you as government representatives, people that we agree to serve the nation because we serve government at different levels. Some of us are ministers, others are governors, others are directors, others are officers in different capacities. All of us have taken the oath to serve the Namibian people. So we want to be transparent and accountable as we do so by coming to you, the community of Opuwo and the people of Kunene region, for us to share the information that we are doing and the work that we are doing in our offices when we are not with you on the ground.
Turning our attention to the Umsati region, where a 41-year-old woman was allegedly attacked with a panga by a 54-year-old boyfriend on Wednesday. Namibian Police Force Umsati Community Policing Subdivision Inspector Anna Kunga said the incident occurred around 18:30 hours at Ongongolwa village in the Tsandi constituency. More from this report.
Namibian Police Force Umusati Community Policing Subdivision Inspector Anna Kunga said the incident occurred at around 6 p.m. at Ongongolwa village in the Tsandi constituency. It is alleged that the suspect, who was a boyfriend to the victim, was arguing with her, and the suspect hacked and injured the victim with a panga on her head, right hand, and neck, which caused the victim to sustain serious injuries. Sylvia Shondali reporting for Primetime News.
On to some continental updates. Nigerian health officials are issuing warnings of a cholera outbreak that has killed at least 30 people, many of them in the commercial capital Lagos, since the start of the year. Lagos state health officials reported 15 deaths so far and 350 suspected cases, according to a statement on X, formerly Twitter, this week. AFP furnishes more.
Cholera is an acute intestinal infection that spreads through contaminated food and water. It typically causes severe diarrhea, vomiting, and muscle cramps, and sometimes death. Lagos state health officials reported 15 deaths so far and 350 suspected cases, according to a statement on X, formerly Twitter, this week. Lagos Water Corporation warned against consuming water from unreliable or untreated sources. According to the Lagos State Ministry of Health, the primary cause of the cholera outbreak has been linked to the consumption of contaminated water and inadequate sanitation, it said in a statement. The agency said 30 people had died since the start of the year. An outbreak killed 128 people, with more than 3,600 suspected cases across Africa's most populous country last year, compared to 2 deaths in 2022. Salima Shumwefeleni Masipa for Primetime News.
Stay tuned for your top roundup with the business segment thereafter. Welcome to the Primetime Biz segment, your premier source for all things business related. Minister of Industrialization and Trade Lucia Ipumbu noted the Namibia Competition Commission plays a crucial role in enhancing consumer welfare. Ipumbu made these remarks at the Competition Regulation Conference held in the capital on Thursday. Primetime News producer Sylvia Hashandali attended the event and brings us this report.
The Competition Commission is currently in the process of amending that old, outdated legislation, and that is Act number 2 of 2003, so that we improve the identified areas around the administration and implementation of the competition law in Namibia. Some of those that are identified in this aspect are issues that have to do with the measures control, the enforcement, the market inquiries, price severance, excessive pricing, and the investigation power of the Commission, so that we align all this with the policy that we have developed recently. Government efforts continue to be complemented in various ways. One of these ways is to make sure that we have a cooperation between ourselves and the local and the regional governments. We also make sure that we bring on board our international counterparts so that we enrich the policies and the legislative framework like we are today here with our various stakeholders that are from the various international organizations and international countries, so that we are able to make sure that the infuse some new dimension in our discussion so that we are moving with time to be able to have our documents and our institutions modernized and being modeled to the rest of the international community.
Moving on to business updates from East Africa. Thousands of mostly young demonstrators took to the streets across Kenya on Thursday to protest tax hikes, blowing whistles and chanting slogans, and a vivid show of anger by Gen Z protesters against the government. Now, the cash-strapped government of President William Ruto agreed to make some concessions on Tuesday after hundreds of mostly young protesters clashed with the police in the capital, Nairobi. AFP brings us this report.
Police in the capital of Nairobi fired tear gas and water cannon against groups of protesters near Parliament. But apart from the isolated scuffles earlier in the day, the action, dubbed Occupy Parliament, remained mostly peaceful. Led largely by young Kenyans, the demonstrations began in Nairobi on Tuesday before spreading nationwide on Thursday. They have galvanized widespread content over President William Ruto's economic policies in a country already grappling with a cost of living crisis. Sylvia Shandali reporting for Primetime News.
That's all we had for tonight's top segment. As now a look at what the weather has in store for us countrywide over the weekend, followed up by a roundup of the latest economic news and the Sport Planet segment. Welcome, Sport Planet, the segment dedicated to all things sport in action. We commence with rugby. Wales prop Henry Thomas has been ruled out of Saturday's match against world champion South Africa at Twickenham with a foot injury. Cardiff tight head Kieran Asirati has been promoted off the bench to start, with Harry O'Connor named among the replacements, the Welsh Rugby Union said in a statement issued Thursday. Now, the Twickenham encounter will be the first Springboks' first match since they won a record fourth world title in France last year. Switching attention to the English Premier League. Liverpool boss Arne Slot joked Thursday that TNT Sports selected the Reds opening match of the new Premier League season at Ipswich for a lunchtime kickoff because Jurgen Klopp was no longer in charge. Former Reds manager Klopp, who stood down at the end of the last campaign, was a repeated critic of early kickoff games, particularly after midweek games and international breaks. Klopp was a constant critic of Saturday 12:30 p.m. local starts, especially after midweek games and international breaks, and in one of his final press conferences at Anfield last month, labelled such fixtures a crime. But while he has departed, Liverpool will still launch the new season with a 12:30 p.m. 11:30 GMT match at Portman Road on the 17th of August. Up next is your sports roundup. This concludes this week's installment of Primetime News. Many thanks for having cruised with me. Do remember to log in for next week's Primetime News Bulletin. Before I call it done and dusted, we need to remind you to follow the on-screen prompts and subscribe to the Number TV platform for you to stay updated on developments shaping the global village. In addition, Number TV flies various formats, so do make time to check them out. Do catch me next week as from Monday, as I deliver updates and events shaping the local and international landscape. Otherwise, from myself, Michael Medimba, and my collective production crew behind the scenes, wishing you a restful weekend. That's bye for now.